Amy Gershon. I am the director for the Office of Student Services in the School of Education Information Studies. And we have two departments, Department of Education and Department of Information Studies, that comprise our school. I'm going to speak about education first and then about information studies. So education would be for those who would, wish to pursue various interests in the field of education. Education is a really broad field. A lot of times most people think of it in just kind of teaching, K through 12 teaching, but there's a lot of different aspects to it. And we have a lot of different programs here at UCLA. So it would be interesting for those folks who are interested, for example, in teaching or working in student affairs, such as those who might be interested in residential life or academic advising or student activities. That is kind of related to student affairs, financial aid to student affairs, admissions to student affairs, early academic outreach, that could be considered student affairs. Administration, so this is really more perhaps for more seasoned K-12 teachers, but for those who wanted to go into being a principal or some type of administrator in a K-12 setting. And then those who might be interested in research. So a lot of folks who are interested in researching, for example, cognitive development of young children or motivating factors of academic success or, diversity issues or comparative education issues, higher education, urban education. So we offer 4 different master's degree programs in the Department of Education. One's in student affairs, one's in teacher education, one's in principal leadership, which I talked about is for more seasoned K-12 teachers. And then we also offer a transformative coaching and leadership program for those who are interested in coaching, not academic coaching, but really actually coaching like football or softball or volleyball, through a transformative social justice lens. And then we have 5 different programs that also offer, 4 of them that offer an MA and 5 that offer a PhD. So those are really more of our research focus. So for students who might have a question that they're really interested in kind of discovering the answer to, such as, why are there particular, access issues to higher education for rural students. Maybe that was something that people are really interested in wanting to study. Then that would be, a research question that folks might have that they would come and pursue an MA or PhD. Information studies, on the other hand, is for those who are interested in the area, various aspects of information studies, such as a lot of times the most traditional one that folks think of is library studies, which is a large part of this professional degree program, but it's also archives. So people who are interested in archival studies, just kind of maintaining the history and memory of whether it's storytelling, or a lot of times archives have become very popular now as far as in the media archives as well. And then informatics, so if they're interested in database engines or web-based services, that would be kind of the specialization of informatics. So in information studies, we offer a professional master's degree, and then we also do offer a PhD for those who would be interested in the research in that area. Some of what do they go on to do is, I think, a question that you also asked. So, and that, a lot of our professional programs, they are designed to have folks be employed after completing the degree. So folks obviously in our teacher education program are going on to teaching positions in K-12. Folks in our student affairs program are going on to various positions, whether it's academic advising or early academic outreach, residential life, student activities. They're going on to those type of positions, traditionally at 4-year institutions, sometimes community colleges. And then our research folks, sometimes they'll go into administrative type positions. Sometimes they'll go into research-based programs. Sometimes our MA students will go on to PhD programs. But a lot of our PhD students do go on to research-based positions, whether it's assistant professor type positions, or engaging in research for a think tank. And then our library, Masters in Library and Information Science, they're traditionally going on to positions at places such as, for example, the Getty or maybe Los Angeles Public Library, or maybe going to work for one of the studios here in Los Angeles, such as Disney or Paramount, to maybe work in their archives there, or maybe they're going to work for one of the big companies such as Google or Facebook for the informatics emphasis. All of our deadlines for all of our programs, with the exception of 2 of our professional degree programs, our deadline is December 1st. So we start with information sessions that individuals can attend in the summer and fall. We usually start those in July and they run through October. And we have information sessions for our MA PhD, for our MSA Student Affairs program, Teacher Education program, Master of Library and Information Science program, and also for our Principal Leadership Institute, which, as I said, is the program really more for our seasoned teachers who are looking at the administrative route. So for all of our programs, we have a December 1st deadline. They apply through UCLA Graduate Division's website. Their application usually comes online in early September after Labor Day. So they would start the application there. We do have checklists that we provide on our own website, and students or potential applicants are able to download the checklist, which will walk them through step by step how to complete the application. The only deadline that differs is a early February deadline for our Principal Leadership Institute, which, as I said, is for our seasoned teachers or folks who have been teaching for at least 5 years who want to go on and go into administration, or our professional doctoral program, which is our educational leadership program, which requires 5 years of professional work experience. But other than that, our deadline is December 1st. Some of our programs do have interviews. Those interviews generally happen in January. For example, our teacher education program, folks have interviews for that. That's generally in January. And then folks start being notified anywhere from mid-February through mid-March, with a deadline of April 15th for the following fall. So most of the financial resources, I would say, are going to be through UCLA's Graduate Division website. They have a really resourceful website about with financial information, whether it's a search engine that folks can search through for various scholarships that might pertain to them. Some of them are really nuanced. For example, they offer a scholarship for people who are visually impaired or blind. So there's particular criteria that people might have that they might be eligible for those fellowships. And then also they list, extramural fellowships that folks can search through. For our library and information studies students, there are some particular organizations such as the American Library Association or the Society for American Archivists that provide student scholarships. So I'd encourage people to look at those. And sometimes if folks are interested in particular areas of study, then I would say, there might be some particular nuanced scholarships that are pertinent to that particular field of study that folks can look at. A couple, I would say, one is, should folks reach out to faculty that they might be interested in studying with as a prospective student? And I always say yes, definitely, to reach out to potential faculty, particularly if you're entering a research-based program, such as the MA or the PhD here at UCLA. Professional degree programs, it's a little less important, but really more because the research, you really are working under an assigned advisor with matching research interest. So I always say yes, absolutely, reach out to faculty members. And then in the same breath, I say don't take it personally if they don't respond, because some faculty are a little bit better about responding than others, and it's really 100% nothing personal at all to the applicant. That is just something that sometimes some faculty are better about responding than others. But I think it's completely reasonable to reach out and ask faculty if they are taking students for the following academic year, or explaining their particular background, and seeing if the faculty member thinks it would be a good match. So that's one frequently asked question. And then another frequently asked question I get is, folks are deciding, I can't decide if I'm really interested in, for example, here at UCLA, higher education and organizational change, or social sciences and comparative education. I can only apply to one, but they're both of interest to me. And so for that, I always say to really do a lot of research. Applying to graduate school is extremely consuming for time, money, and energy, and those are finite resources. So really you want to make sure that you're doing your research, and part of the way that you can kind of make that determination as to what the best program is for you is to, I always suggest, look at the handbook, look at the curriculum, look at the faculty, what their particular research interests are, but really more look at the classes. Are there particular classes that are required for one program versus another that are more pertinent, you know, or more engaging, more interesting, really fulfill your passion? Because not only does applying to graduate school take a lot of time, money, and energy, as I said, it also takes a lot of time, money, and energy once you're in graduate school. So you want to make sure that you are studying something that you're passionate about and pursuing a place that really is going to be a good match for you. Our website is the best way. We really don't have any printed material. So our website, which was just recently revised, which is seisam.ucla.edu. And yeah, that's just really kind of the best place to find about all of our different programs. You have to kind of navigate a little bit, spend a little time on there, but you should be able to find everything that you're going to be looking for. And if not, then you can always email our office, and we'll be happy to respond with any particular questions that folks might have. Well, one of them I already kind of gave, which is just that, you know, applying to graduate study and being in graduate study is really just such a, it takes a lot of time and energy and money, as I mentioned before. But more than that, really it's just, you know, I think, for example, we have really wonderful programs here at UCLA, but I also know it might not necessarily be the right program for everyone. So to really do your research and trust your own intuition as to really what's going to be the best program for you. So for example, our teacher education program is an excellent program, but our teacher education program is really focused on serving underserved communities. So our students do their student teaching, their student observation, student teaching, and do their first teaching jobs in really traditionally underserved communities. In Los Angeles, that's South Los Angeles and East Los Angeles. It's really underserved communities. That's not necessarily the right fit for everyone. You know, some folks apply because they're like, oh, I really want to get my master's degree from UCLA, and their teacher education program is a good one. Yeah, that's true. But if you're not committed to working in those communities and with that population, then we're not going to be the right program for you. So I would say to really just trust your own intuition and as you're doing your research to really decide what is going to be the best program for you. And the only other thing I would give issue is really about letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation are really important. Actually, I'm going to give two more little nuggets. One is about letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation traditionally should really come from either an academic reference or a professional reference. I think those are the best. Sometimes people will get personal references, you know, their best friend who knew them from kindergarten. That's really great, but that's really not going to help the faculty committee who's reviewing your admission file understand you as a potential student, as a potential professional, as a potential researcher. So you really want folks who can testify to your ability to be successful in graduate study or your commitment to the field that you're going to study. And so they really should be professional in nature. Sometimes you're going to ask folks who might not necessarily have a great understanding of the field that you want to pursue. So for example, you might have been, you might be asking your sociology professor for a reference for you to go pursue a master's in library and information science. Well, maybe a sociology professor doesn't really fully understand what the master in library and information science does. So what I always recommend is, if you're able to, is to provide a resume and a personal statement or statement of purpose, whatever it is that you're working on, to that faculty member or to that individual who might not have the information about the profession to have a better understanding their context for to be able to write the letter of recommendation on your behalf. So I would recommend that. And the other thing I would recommend is spending a lot of time on your statement of purpose or personal statement. We, for example, require three different statements. One is specific to the School of Education Information Studies. This is for the Department of Education. And then there are two general statement of purpose and personal statements. Department of Information Studies, we don't require the additional essay, but we do for the Department of Education. But I would say, regardless, for each of the statements that you are writing, you really want to make sure that you have it tailored to the school that you're applying to. So a lot of times that's going to be what distinguishes someone who's admitted versus someone who's not, is the person who's admitted has really conveyed to the faculty who are reviewing the application that they have a full and complete understanding of what the program is about. If you're writing a really generic statement of purpose that doesn't reference any faculty members at the particular institution that you're applying to, then that's really not going to serve you well. So you really want to spend time crafting your personal statement, statement of purpose, or any other required essay, so it really does detail that you've done your research and why that particular program is a good fit for you.